Thank you for allowing Ressources to present at the African Mining Summit. Hopefully next year we'll be able to meet in person, but unfortunately that's the world we live in at the moment. So I'll just try to work this one out. Okay, there's a disclaimer. I'll take that as read. Chester is in Senegal. We found two high-grade gold deposits in our Diamba Sud tenement in eastern Senegal. We're in Senegal. We believe Senegal is one of the best investment jurisdictions in West Africa. It's highly prospective, safe, and investor-friendly. Diamba Sud project location is on the Senegal-Mali shear zone, surrounded by world-class ore bodies in Lulu, Gonkoro, Fekola, just over the border in Mali, but on the Senegal side, the same rock units run through that part of the country. Chester is well funded with about $8 million Australian in the bank at the end of the last quarter. We've just completed an extensive drilling campaign to define and expand our mineralisation. We're looking forward to delivering our maiden resource estimate Q4 this year. So we'll have a touch on Senegal a bit. It's the longest stable democracy in West Africa. It's got a strong growing GDP, although COVID has impacted as it has all African countries. It's got a very strong foreign investment history. There's been 2 modern gold mines being built, funded from external debt, all of which have been repaid. Both of those projects have been taken over in the market without any political interference, and there's a massive investment going on in the country in terms of the oil and gas sector, and Woodside is an Australian oil and gas business developing a $4.2 billion offshore oil reserve. It's got a modern mining jurisdiction, and it's very supportive government, and the president sort of was a geologist, mining engineer, and understands the business very well. So we're very happy to be there. Broadly, Chester has over 1,000 square kilometres of tenements and tenement applications in Senegal. Most of our efforts recently have been on the Diamba Sud project. It lies within the Senegal-Mali shear zone. That's the second most prolific gold belt in Africa beyond Ghana, and it hosts over 45 million ounces of gold and numerous world-class gold mines. Diamba Sud sort of within 12 kilometres of Lulu, 7 kilometres of Gonkoro, and 40 kilometres of Fekola. And we've defined 2 high-grade areas within Diamba Sud, and there's a stretch of 50 to 60 kilometres of Senegal-Mali shear zone rocks on the Senegal side that is getting a lot of attention by major gold miners and explorers, being Barrick and IAMGOLD, and we'll have a look at that in a bit more detail. We zoom in. The coloured image is our Diamba Sud tenement. We acquired that in 2017. The company undertook a tenement-wide auger geochemical sampling program and defined numerous and extensive high-grade sort of gold anomalism. If you can see on the image, the red blobs outside of tenement are actually Barrick's defined geochemical anomalies, and you can see Gonkoro. It is certainly alive, and there's a lot of gold going through the system. The company is focused on the two biggest anomalies, and have defined resources, or defined mineralisation over both of those. Area D and Area A, you can see that in the map. Area D is dominated by thick high-grade oxide. Area A is more structurally controlled system. We're looking at delivering our maiden resource estimate Q4 this year. We've undertaken preliminary metallurgy on Area A with really good results at 96% recovery, and there's samples in Area D in the lab at the moment. And we've also defined a lot of high priority targets to follow on and look for additional resources over time. So if we just have a look at Area D, as I said, it's a shallow high-grade oxide blanket overlying primary mineralisation. It's defined by about a 400 by 400 metres area with a very thick accumulation of gold on the eastern boundary against this northern arc structure, where the mineralisation is formed over 20 to 40 metres thick and grading 3 to 10 grams per tonne within 10 metres of surface. So it will be very high value mineralisation, and will go a long way to making a lot of money for a future mining operation, which we hope to define here in the near term. Little section through Area D, you can see on the right that the gold accumulation against that Northern Arc structure in the oxide is quite spectacular, below which mineralisation is really confined within a calcareous sedimentary sequence. We call it a sedimentary breccia, and high grades within that are really defined by feeder structures or secondary structures. There's a bit more work to do to define where those are and what the continuity of the high grades are, but it certainly indicates that there's a lot of mineralisation below the oxide that we hope to tease out with further drilling. And stepping over to Area A, which is about 300 metres to the east, it's more structurally controlled. There's very little oxide in this area. Again, it's the same lithological controls, very intense alteration where these structures come through albite carbonate hematite. And it's very similar structural settings, similar sedimentary host rocks, structural settings and alteration packages as they see in Goncotto and Fekola. And this is what's got us very interested, and also Barrick on our boundary as well. We'll have a look at a section up to the north of that, and you can see from the section that where these cross-cutting structures, or dilational fault in this case, intersect the flat-lying calcareous sediments, you get a lot of gold, really thick intercepts with 5, 7, 10 grams. So, you know, we've got a lot more data coming in from the drilling over this area, so hopefully that'll help us understand the controls on the high grades particularly better, and help us target the extensions of mineralisation in the future. So we've basically covered both of those areas with 25 by 25 to 25 by 50 metre drilling, and that'll lead into the resource estimate later in the year. There's an image of our nearly completed exploration camp, Area A and Area D, and on the background you can see sort of see Goncotto. You can see there's no local populations on the tenement area or any significant land use, although we have developed and maintain a very strong relationship with local communities. The Mali border is just before Barrick's Goncotto mines, defined by the river, so there's water. There's the main access road between Senegal and Mali runs within 7 kilometres of this project. So in terms of potential development, I think we're well positioned for that. We sneak in and have a look a bit closer at some of our prospects. We've currently defined sort of 10 high priority exploration targets, largely on geochemistry at this stage. We're running some geophysics over the tenement-wide IP surveys, so that'll help us hopefully define some of the structures, and that in combination with the geochem will help refine our targeting. We believe this Northern Arc structure, which runs from Mali through and cuts off Barrick's Latifa and KB West prospects and cuts through A and D, and then goes further on through our tenement, is a fairly significant structure and very important in controlling mineralisation. There's mineralisation defined on it over 15 kilometres. We've got about 5 kilometres defined on our tenement. During the year, we did one single drill traverse across an area called Area H, which is a geochem anomaly, previously undrilled, and intersected a steep structure, which is sort of 10 to 15 metres wide at 2 grams. So that obviously needs following up. And there's very little drilling on our tenement outside Area A and D because that's where the focus has been. But what little drilling there is often all-grade mineralisation. And you can see on our western boundary with Barrick, some of the highlighted drilling results they've had. They're also getting very good results, particularly at KB West, where I think they've defined some mineralisation. How big it is yet to be determined, but it looks very similar to our Area A. But you know, they're getting 50 odd metres at 2 grams per tonne. So there's a lot of drilling to do. There's a lot of prospectivity, and I think with time and drilling, we'll find some more stuff on our tenements. More regionally, as I said, we're sitting in the northern end of this 50 to 60 kilometre zone of Senegal Mali shear zone rocks. that in the Senegal side that have historically had less exploration done on them through some views on prospectivity, but it's a similar host rocks, similar alteration packages, and the historical thought that the Senegal Malay Shear Zone footwall in this area was, this perspective is sort of going out the window. There's more of an anastomosing shear potentially. So, immediately to the west, we're getting strong exploration undertaken by Barrick. Immediately to the, to the east, immediately to the west, there's a small scale mining operation by AfriGold. And from there down to the South Iron Gold are busy exploring and also developing their Boto gold project. Boto is about a 1.4 million ounce reserve, which they've started construction on. They're doing their haul road and village relocation, but they're also exploring on the region as well. And recently, their joint venture partner, Oriel Resources, did a quick estimate on some drill results they're getting at Faray up to the north, not too far from our project, and come up with 150,000 ounces, 5,000 ounces at 1.3. So look, there's mineralisation either end of this belt, and it's getting a lot of attention by pretty significant players. Just looking at this is a Barrick replication of Barrick's quarterly reports, and just showing the top intercepts that they've reported over the last couple of years. So they're very, very busy exploring on this tenement. They're getting a lot of success extending the mine lives between Lilu and Gonkoto on the Mali side. But I think they also believe that the prospectivity of this belt is equally good. The exploration camp's pretty strong. We have a very strong, good relationship with them. So we share information and try to share understanding on the development of these projects. The red blobs again are their gold anomalies, and hopefully they put them through our tenement. So they do trend through our tenement and tend to, particularly down the southeast corner, there's still a bit of work. We haven't done much drilling. So you can see that they're busy. They're finding lots of mineralisation. There's a lot of mineralisation in the system. So just leads to the high prospectivity of this project area. So in summary, we've defined 2 high-grade gold discoveries on Diamba Sud. Just completed an extensive drilling program, which will lead into a maiden resource estimate in Q4. Well funded. We believe, particularly where Diamba Sud sits, we're on a very highly prospective part of geological terrain, and that's been borne out by the activity around us in Barrick and Iron Gold. We've got lots of exploration to do, lots of untested prospects, plus also a lot of work to be done on area A and D to expand those resources too once the maiden resource has been completed. And we really like Senegal. Senegal's a great place to do business, and they're very supportive, so we're very happy to be there. So thank you very much.